tariffs loom, small businesses are bracing for the impact. Take a look at this. Nearly 75% of U.S. companies with fewer than 100 workers import goods from Mexico. Now, that means a potentially big hit could be coming on their bottom lines. Joining me now is Linda McMahon. She's former head of the Small Business Administration. It's a pleasure to have you here and
Thank you,
in
Dana.
the studio. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that businesses are a little bit more cautious. We just got the jobs report, 75,000 jobs added in May, but we had seen this torrid pace so that is maybe understandable. But tariffs, are they making it harder for small businesses to plan ahead?
Well, I actually, though, looked at the jobs report and was pleased to see that unemployment is holding at 3.6%. And when you look at wage growth, 3.1%. And when we've looked at over the past few years, that wage growth is continuing for non-supervisory jobs growing at a faster rate.
It wasn't, wages were growing at 3.4%. That's a little bit of a dip down to 3.1%. But manufacturing jobs in this last jobs report, only 5,000. Is that a sign of anything or nothing to worry about?
Well, I think that we've still got such good growth, good momentum. And I'm really happy to see the president's policies with tax reductions, regulatory rollback are still having positive impacts. In fact, NFIB says that they're still seeing such optimism with small businesses. You know, clearly tariffs.
Yeah, it's record high.
Yeah, but, you know, tariffs will give you a moment of pause. Say, how is it going to affect us? So I think the fact that we are getting, that's good news, I think, on what we're hearing this afternoon relative to the Mexican tariffs. And so I hope that we will get that resolved. And the tariffs
good news because Mexico is acting to send the National Guard troops to the border.
Well, absolutely, because the whole tariff situation with Mexico started, you know, and I still think is really the primary driver for the president as a national security issue.
Is a secondary driver than what the president was tweeting about in terms of agricultural goods?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of the president. I haven't spoken to him about it, but actually I do think this is a bit of a sweetener. It sounds like from what Mark Short was saying into the deal.
So presidents often have to make decisions that are politically unpopular. Tariffs might be one of them, right? If that's the leverage that you have. To get political for a second, looking at the states hardest hit by these tariffs if the president goes through with them. Texas number one at $107 billion, but Michigan number two at $56.3 billion. And the president of automotive at Ford said this: it would have a significant impact on the industries, ourselves included. The core issue is not a trade issue. It's illegal immigration or immigration in general. But of course, the trade tariffs get tied up in this topic, which makes it a little more complicated. At what point do you think there might be other decisions that have to come into play which are political as 2020 looms?
I don't think that anything is made in a vacuum without some consideration towards the politics of it. I mean, let's be fair about that. But I do think the president's first driving issue is really to stop this immigration overflow of illegal immigrants.
Right.
You know, we are a generous country. About 1 million immigrants come in legally every single year, but we are overwhelmed at the border. The president's been saying, Democrats are saying, you know, this is a manufactured crisis. It's not.
It's clearly not a manufactured crisis. And you look at the numbers of immigrants that are crossing, and I do have to say, you know, if President Obama were president and you had this number of people coming across, Congress would have gotten together. Now, and the Republicans might have resisted, but I think that you can recognize a crisis like this. But politically, on the tariffs issue, the Democrats are starting to have one economic argument, which is to say the president's tax cuts didn't help you. You got $830 in your pocket from the tax cuts, but the tariffs are going to cost you $931. Is that an argument that they'll be successful with?
I don't think so, because the economy is so strong and it's good and it's continuing to maintain strength. And I think the president was right. If you're really going to take on China and you're really going to stop this imbalance of trade that we've had for so long, you have to do it when your economy is strong. So we did that. We built the economy. Jobs have been created. We've seen jobs growth. Unemployment is high. You know, the biggest issue with jobs right now that I hear from small businesses is they don't have enough workers.
Well, is that a reason to allow more immigrants to come into the country?
Come in legally. They can come in legally and I think the president has a great idea with the merit-based system. I think that works. It works well on both sides.
Well, we'll see if they get anything done. Linda McMahon, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Dana.
Appreciate it.